Hello everyone. So I'm gonna be doing something a little different today. There's this tournament that started yesterday. It's a Detox Goat format tournament using this particular deck list. So the rules are that everyone in the tournament must use this deck, card for card, without any side deck at all. And there's like 66 players in the tournament. Yeah, this is just like a deck they used to use like, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And I don't know, the mirror's apparently kind of skillful. So yeah, I have my round one match that I just wanted to review. I know most people might come here for the Chaos Turbo reviews, but I have a Detox Goat mirror match review this time. Let's see how this goes. So I lose rock, paper, scissors. My opponent is Greyce, who generally plays warriors. He starts with a T set. Okay, so I have a decision here. If I use knock, what's my follow-up? That's like really what I'm asking when I'm in this situation. I have an option to just go like meta sinister instead and just bring out the Thousand Eyes and control the game that way. If he has book, I just use knock after that. If he has ring, same thing. I don't want to do knock plus morphing jar because it goes pretty badly too often. I don't really want to just discard the BLS right now. And also, I have no protection for the morphing jar. So like something can just attack it and then I would have to lose my cards. And if I were to set meta plus heavy, then I'm giving away that I have morphing jar pretty much. And he'll just play around it. So I think the best play here is just go meta serpent and try and control the game with Thousand Eyes. I don't really have anything else going for me anyway. So that goes through. He goes and just passes. Remember, this deck plays double Tsukuyomi, so this wasn't like the easiest decision. But I felt like if he has Tsukuyomi, he has Tsukuyomi. I'll just have to like prepare Morphing Jar in the future. Alright, so he doesn't have Tsukuyomi. I take Serpent back. So let's think here. I don't believe I have a play. I don't think setting Morphing Jar is good because if there were to be something that happens, I don't know, like Snatch plus Air Knight, attack into Morphing Jar, that would be really bad. I could do Morphing Jar Ring, it's possible. But I'm cool just passing turn right here without a play. I could have set Ring for sure, but didn't feel like it. So when I draw Breaker, I start thinking about what his back row can be. Remember, he didn't use it on turn 1 to stop Thousand Eyes, so it's not going to be Book, it's not going to be Ring. I guess it technically could be Torrential, but setting Torrential behind Merchant turn 1 in this mirror match is pretty pointless, so you'd have to make a mistake to have Torrential set here. So I'm thinking the back row is just Dust Tornado. Dust Tornado or possible Sakuretsu that he set, but mostly Dust Tornado. And yep, that +1. I could set the ring now, or I could pass. I think with Heavy Storm, I'm cool just passing, because I could give myself some potential Heavy Storm plus Thousand Eyes plays. He sets a monster in a back row. So I do have that Heavy Storm plus Thousand Eyes play here, if I wanted to do it. But I don't want to do it, and the reason is Heavy Storm in this matchup is just a card that you would like to have as long as possible. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if I were to burn it now, he can just like set 2, 3, 4 without being that scared, except for the Magician of Faith. So I think my best play here is just to use Knock, which gets rid of all the merchants. And let's see, he set a back row, so there's potential like goat meta stuff. Is that enough to warrant setting ring? I'm not sure. I think I do set ring, but I would like to see myself pass here. Oh, okay, so I decided... Oh, I see what I'm doing here. Greyce has so many cards in his hand, and I'm trying to do a Morphing Jar ring here. I'm going to set ring, of course. It's not like... This looks like I could just like have a Magician of Faith, potentially. Obviously I'm not setting everything. Don't want to give away anything that it could be a Morphing Jar. So yeah, if he were to not commit to the board in this situation, I would just ring my Thousand Eyes, set everything, and then flip Morphing Jar, and I would be okay losing my BLS in that situation. He just has Nobleman though, so that's gone. He sets another monster, and I draw Duo. I think for a little while here, but I do think just using Duo is correct. And I don't want to use Heavy Storm to take the monster because I would lose my ring. So I just pass turn. He passes back and I draw Faith. I think my play is just set Faith pass. I draw Asura. I could set this as well, but I think it's too risky, because this back row of his could still be like torrential. So I don't want to commit more to the board than I need to. So just I could do something like ring to take and then flip Faith, take Duo or Knock, but I don't feel that I have enough of a follow-up to warrant doing that at the moment. He goes and passes back. I go. I'm just going to set the Sangen and then pass back. So now he goes for Faith Thousand Eyes, which is interesting, because he could have just set Faith, but he must be worried that I'm planning a big Faith play with all these set monsters. So he decides he's just going to summon the Thousand Eyes right now. And unfortunately for him, he targets my freshly set Sangen. And now I draw Graceful. So now I can really go off. If you notice all the plays, I have Heavy Storm, and he has my Sangen equipped, so I can use that to get Tsukiyomi. And I would chain ring to destroy his Thousand Eyes. I would then use Thousand Eyes to suck up his set monster. I would then summon the Search Tsukiyomi to put my Thousand Eyes face down. I would then flip Faith to take Duo, and that's without even using this Charity with Serpent that I have. So yeah, I'm about to go crazy. So start with the Storm. He chains ring on my Thousand Eyes. I ring his. I go for Tsukiyomi. I have the decision here to flip Faith first or Charity. I would rather get more information on what I should grab with Faith, because look, I still have an option between Knock and Duo. So I would like to Charity right now to get more information on that. Discards are pretty obvious here. It's Serpent and a Light Monster, because I need one for BLS. And I think my worst Light Monster is DD Warrior Lady. So, do that. I debate this for a really long time. I was thinking whether I should go for Flip Faith, use Knock, and then summon Sook to put it face down, and also throw BLS out there. I just think that was a little too risky, and not necessarily that risky. It's just not necessary. Like, what's the worst case here? His worst case is his set is Faith, and he takes back Meta, Scapegoat, or Knock. Don't really care that much about that. I think my play is just flip Faith, take Duo to continue taking more cards out of his hand. And if I see Snatch discarded, then I'll throw out the BLS. So instead he loses 2 metas, which puts 3 total metas in his grave. So Thousand Eyes will not be coming out anymore. And I just decide to attack here. I could have summoned Tsukiyomi first, putting Faith face down, but I would rather, if this set of his is Faith, I want him to make his choice on his spell card before I make the choice between summoning Sook or setting Faith. So it's Sangan, and he grabs Serpent, which obviously does nothing now that all his metas are in the graveyard. And main phase 2, I'll just summon Sook to put Faith face down and set Scapegoat. He goes for Sook, attacks my Faith, and I will take Charity. Don't want to take Duo since he has Sinister. And he goes for main phase 2 Duo, which discards my Faith. So what's my worst card? My worst card is Tsukiyomi, because I have another Tsukiyomi in the deck, and also all of my flips are gone, and all of his ability to make Thousand Eyes is gone. So I literally don't need Tsukiyomi at all. And he just passes. I take Serpent, activate Charity, discard Sinister, and I already have Scapegoat face down, so discard Scapegoat. Use Pot, draw Saku Air Knight. 2 options here. You could summon Air Knight to get a draw, or you can summon Asura and flip Breaker, hitting for 33. And I valued the 3300 damage more than the draw with Air Knight, because next turn I set up a very easy game shot with BLS. So just do that, and also set Sakuretsu for hand size. He sets a monster, and that's just easy game. BLS, use Knock. On to the next one. I draw a hand with no monsters, but it has 2 knocks. So I'll be able to stop the early flip advantage. Yeah, play here is pretty simple. I just summon Breaker. Strike back row, he chains Book, and then I use Knock. Then I have the option here between Sakuretsu and Ring of Destruction. So, in general, I would prefer to keep Ring of Destruction until later in the game, because it stops stuff like Thousand Eyes, it can destroy BLS, it just does a lot of, it's more versatile basically, obviously. And Sakuretsu now, unlike Asura, DD Warrior Lady, stuff like that, would be really nice. However, if I were to set Saku and he goes Breaker, he just goes +2. So I can't have that happen. It's too big of a risk. So I have to set Ring, just because Breaker is a card. And he does have Breaker. And I chain Ring. Sets a back row. So once he doesn't destroy my Breaker, it ends up going +1 on that Book of Moon. So I'll flip Breaker, attack for 16, that's my only play. And then I have the option between Saku and Book of Moon. There could be some like end phase goat meta play where I might want to Book of Moon the Thousand Eyes. However, that still gets attributed for Air Knight. So I would have to set Saku and Book of Moon if I decided to set Book of Moon, which is a reasonable play. It's not bad. But I decide only to set Sakuretsu and just giving him Thousand Eyes if he wants it. He sets a monster, I draw Sangen. I'm just going to continue pressuring here. I'm going to summon Sangen and then play Knock. Let me think here. Yeah, there's definitely no world where I hold Knock, because if he has BLS, I would just be giving him a light and he would take Book. So, yep. Hit for 26. He takes it. And I do have the option to set Book of Moon now to like, because he might get desperate in this situation and like snatch the Breaker. But I decide that if he decides to snatch Breaker, I'm still just in a great spot. Like, he'll attack Sangen probably, and I'll search for something, Tsukiyomi or something, Serpent. So I decide not to set Book. He draws Pot and goes for DD Warrior Lady to attack Sangen. So this is another decision. It looks very, very obvious to use Sakuretsu here, right? But if I Sakuretsu and he drops BLS in main phase 2, banishing my Sangen, what happens? I'm just completely dead, right? He'll then banish my Breaker the following turn. He won't just play into Sakuretsu. So I'll lose both my guys. I'm going to have to top deck something. So I decide to just let him banish this Sangen. And also, if you check lights, all 4 flip lights are banished. This DD Warrior Lady is a light. If this is banished, that's yet another light. And the only ones he would have left are Asura and 2 Air Knights. So I'm cool just letting him banish my Sangen. But Sakuretsu is definitely an option. You could just hope that there's no BLS or if there is a BLS, you hope to sack. I don't really see a card that I can draw, though, that helps me out BLS easily. Because my knocks are gone. There's like Snatch, but he might have Book. So yeah. I like that. I draw Premature. My only play is to attack. And he plays Goats. I'll attack one. And now I do have, again, the option to set Book with the intention of booking Thousand Eyes. Or I could just pass, let him take Breaker, put Thousand Eyes, and then use Sakuretsu on it. I think I would prefer seeing myself set Book here. If he storms, that's still okay. But I don't set Book. I'll just pass. His play is only Asura, though. And I have to Saku. Which still gives him the light anyway in Grave. But now it's a bit of a better position than the last time. Because he'll banish my Breaker here, and then I'll set Mirror Force. So he either then has to attack into Mirror Force, or just keep it face down. Or just keep it face down. If he attacks, he probably has Book, to be honest. But yeah. So I draw Morphing Jar now. He still has both knocks. I'm not sure about the way I play this Morphing Jar. I think I either should set it here, or like summon it and just start attacking tokens, and maybe set up a Book of Moon Morphing Jar play. I decide I'm just going to attack. Like, I don't play these matches enough to really truly know what I should do here. I believe I will then set Book. Or no, I set Mirror Force because of the same thing I talked about a few turns ago with Thousand Eyes. If I go Book Thousand Eyes, he then tributes it for Air Knight. I think I should have set Morphing Jar, but I think the reason I didn't was because it gives him a very profitable BLS summon. He could summon BLS, banish set monster, and then I'm stuck with Breaker that he can banish next turn. And he goes for Thousand Eyes, and I could take this for sure. I decide I'm just going to continue being aggressive, though, and Mirror Forcing. I draw BLS. Now there's another option. Yeah, it's just hard to know what to do with this Morphing Jar. I could set it, I could summon it with Book. I end up just deciding to go Premature Breaker to attack the token. To again just continue forcing him to answer my aggression. And then set Book here. And I feel like I have to set this Morphing Jar. Let's just see his hand. He has Sakuretsu, Suk, Tribe, Mirror Force set. So it looks like set Morphing Jar would be pretty good. And I decide to let the Book of Moon go on Suk because I still want to keep some Book of Moon Morphing Jar plays. Because right now this Morphing Jar is like all I have. So I want to keep the option to summon it in attack mode, basically. Unfortunately, he draws Duo, so I feel like I probably misplayed this game. I should have just set Morphing Jar at some point. But I'm going to lose badly from here. He does have only 1200, so it's not completely over. He summons Tribe. I elect to save the Book of Moon. I draw Scapegoat. I decide to pass with that because he still has 2 Dust Tornadoes and MST, and I don't want him to 100% hit the Scapegoat, and I wouldn't activate it anyway next turn versus Tribe, so I keep that in hand. He hits for 27. I decide to take. He sets back row. I draw Duo, and now I set 2. So now, if he has Dust, at least he has a 50-50. And he just does this. I have to Goat. He destroys 2 goats. When he moves to main phase 2, I have the option to use Book of Moon on Tribe. But I don't because Ring is a card. He decides to prematurely use Ring, which is not what you should do. I chain Book on Suk, and he uses Tribe to destroy my goats. I top deck Snatch, which is probably the best card in my deck. Now I have the option between just attacking or tributing. Tribute setting is also a thing. Looks like tribute setting would have worked. No, he has BLS in hand. Game's over. I decided I was just going to tribute it, attack. Tsukuyomi will put my Air Knight face down, and I get another draw. Unfortunately, I Sakuretsu when the game's over. And that's it. We go to game 3. Alright, so I go first. So I have a very slow looking hand, but I have a play that can set me up next turn to be super strong if he plays into it. So I'm going to set Scapegoat and Dust Tornado. If he goes set back row, set monster, I get to go Goat meta and already set up the Suk lock with it. So that's super strong. And maybe he decides to storm this, and I would just chain Goat and be just completely fine with that. If he doesn't storm, then I just dust his back row. Also fine with that. He decides to just set a back row, and I dust it. My turn, I just set another dust. He summons Breaker, and unfortunately, he figured that my first card is likely to be Scapegoat, so he hits the other card. Though my first card is definitely not always Scapegoat, I would definitely go like Dust Ring turn 1. But even if it was Ring, he would still want to target the other card, right? So that's his only choice. I have the option here to go Goat with the intention of going meta next turn. I would have to MST any back row though, so I would prefer to save this Goat meta play for a little later. Just taking the 16 here and then taking the plus with Suk. I draw Pot, +1, draw Ring, knock, summon Suk, take another +1, and then set MST. Yep. Sounds good to me. The only thing this doesn't play around is a Asura Priest. But he can't have a Asura Priest because he would have summoned that turn 1 most likely. And his draw for turn was very likely to be Breaker. Yeah, it's definitely very likely to be Breaker. Though it's definitely possible to hold Breaker 1 turn in that spot. So you can't like 100% assume, But yeah, if he summons a Sur, I'll just take the 17 and then play around the Sur the following turn. He just passes. I think I'm doing something cute here with the Merchant, where I like summon it and then set Sakuretsu, which really plays into Heavy Storm, obviously. And then if he also Heavy Storms, what do I do with Scapegoat? Do I lock myself with 4 goats and a Merchant? I felt the situation against Heavy was way too bad to risk making that play. So I decided to just set Merchant and pass. I do also decide to set Sook, but I didn't feel that was good. He just passes. I draw Snatch. I could just pass this back for sure, but I decide I want him to commit something. Actually, I think I wait a turn. Because he's got 6 cards in hand right now, so he'll draw to 7, so he has to commit something to the board. So I can wait 1 turn before making a decision. And he sets a back row. I think about not MSTing this, because this back row could just be anything dead, like extra metas, anything he doesn't really care about. But I still decide I'm just gonna try and simplify the game a little bit instead of keeping it complicated with MST. When he sets the meta there, there's likely chance that he has another one in hand, so that's some potential information. And this is where I have 2 options. Well, I'm obviously going to be setting a trap card for sure. Probably Sakuretsu, because Breaker's already gone. I feel like this was a moment where if he has another knock, I want him to commit it right now, so then all my Faith top decks are perfectly safe. And I don't really care that much about the Sook, because I still have another Sook in the deck. And I have plenty of answers to Thousand Eyes plays, pretty much. So I basically set this Sook to force his hand a little bit, which might not be correct. Again, I don't play these matchups often, so this very well could be a mistake. But I'm doing it to like set up the future Faith draws, potential Morphing Jar. So yeah, I go Sook and Sakuretsu. He draws Charity, or held Charity this whole time, and decides to now use it. Discards Mirror Force and Premature, which we like to see. There's no Serpent. Those are 2 pretty good, strong cards. He goes MST on my Sakuretsu. So look at what this Sook made him do. If he was holding Charity this whole time, it made him activate it earlier, because he needed to find an answer for my set monster, because if I have Faith, he loses. So he may have activated the Charity earlier than he wanted to and discarded 2 pretty good cards. And now look what he's doing. He's also wasting a Faith with a Charity engrave. So this set Tsukuyomi really did huge things. I didn't really expect it to do all that, but it did do what I wanted it to do, which is pressure him into making an action. And he just takes the Sook. So obviously I would have liked Sook in my hand to get rid of this Thousand Eyes right now. But he also wouldn't have summoned Thousand Eyes. Actually, did he know about my Sook? Yeah, he knew about my Sook, so he would never summon Thousand Eyes. So yeah, I got rid of his Faith for free and still have Knock in my hand. No reason to go for any end phase goat meta here. I draw Call, which is completely dead. And I just pass back. Well, yeah, I set the ring. In case he wants to go like Heavy Storm, Aeronite or something. He sets a monster. I draw Sangan. So yeah, I'm just going to knock his monster. And then I set Sangan. And the Sangan is very, very important to my game right now because it makes my call live. It makes my meta stronger. Meta's already live with Scapegoat, but I could get Serpent and it becomes better. He also could just have Suki on me here and take my Sangan, which is great for me. But basically I'm going off of, since he made that meta play with Faith, he never has Nobleman. Impossible. So unless he draws this Nobleman in either last turn or this following turn, my Sangan will be safe, and I could potentially go for some Sangan meta plays, grab Sook. Basically what I'm saying is I think set Sangan is better than attack mode Sangan. He goes for Duo, which you assume is the top deck. It hits my Mirror Force, and my call's completely dead, so get rid of that. Meta and Snatch are obviously good. I draw Tribe. So I do have options here. I could go meta for Dragonis and grab Sook to destroy his Thousand Eyes and just put pressure that way and have Ring for anything he summons. But I prefer not to do this. I prefer to just wait. I just want like one more piece, like just one more thing. So I pass, which again could be a mistake. And now I draw Morphing Jar, which is huge if you understand this situation. He doesn't have Knock, right? So I'm just going to set Morphing Jar. And what's he going to do? He's either going to do something crazy to answer it, or he's going to like start setting a bunch of back row. Anyway, it's going to force his hand. I'm obviously not going to set meta Snatch because I don't want to give away anything. So I set Morphing Jar pass. He sets one back row. I draw Sura. So now I'm going for the big value with Morphing Jar. And what's the best way to get the value? Well, it's pretty simple actually. I'm going to summon Tribe and pass priority so that if he has Torrential, he has to Torrential right there. And then I would get a Sangan Search. If he doesn't Torrential, now I can discard the Asura Priest to destroy Thousand Eyes and then set both of my spells and then flip Morphing Jar. So I'm cool both ways. So he allows Tribe. I discard the Asura. Set both spells, flip Morphing Jar. And I just get a free draw 5. Not only do I get a free draw 5, he lost his BLS, Asura, Snatch, Call, and Faith. Why didn't he set Faith? I guess... Yeah, I'm not sure why he didn't set Faith there. In any case, he has no Faiths left. His premature Call is gone. Snatch is gone. Asura that could potentially destroy all my goats are gone. And the big guy, BLS, is gone. So I don't see a way that I lose, really. However, I do see one issue here. He still has Heavy Storm in his deck, and he's very likely to have drawn it in these 5 cards or his next card. So I have to play around Heavy Storm to the best of my ability, but also this Morphing Jar. If you look in his grave and banished, he still has 2 Tsukiyomis and 2 Book of Moons in his deck. So he could easily force the activation of my He could go like Heavy Storm, all my back row, summon Tsukiyomi, put my Morphing Jar face down, set the rest of his cards, and then hit into my Morphing Jar, and suddenly he's got the advantage back, right? So these are my 2 worries. So for now, I think my best play is just flipping Sangan and attacking with everything. He decides to sacrifice to the tribe. I'll hit for 17. So now what in main phase 2? I think often when he decides to sacrifice to the tribe so quickly, it definitely doesn't mean that he has heavy, but if he did have heavy, he will always sacrifice to the tribe, right? So obviously there's a big chance of heavy. So I'm trying to mitigate how strong heavy is. So main phase 2, I'm going to use meta on the Sangan to summon Dragonus. And I think a bit on the position of Dragonus. There's no BLS. There's mostly just like Air Knight, but how does he summon Air Knight without premature? And no Snatch? Yeah, there's no way to summon Air Knight, really. There's like DD Warrior Lady attacking. No, DD Warrior Lady's gone too. If I go defense mode Dragonus, then Sangan, which he still has, can attack over it. You could go Heavy Storm, and then I would chain Ring to my Morphing Jar, and he can summon Sangan attack over the defense mode Dragonus, which I did not want. So I go attack mode Dragonus. And now I'm playing with the intention of ringing my own Morphing Jar in the case that he goes Heavy Storm. And my Sangan will just grab the Sinister. I don't care that much about Suka at the moment. So he doesn't have heavy, which is interesting. He instead just sets double back row. So I'll take my turn, draw meta. So what's my play? I could premature Sangan to put extra damage on board. But I think I'm overall just cool swinging for 19. His power traps remaining are Torrential and Ring. Mirror Force is gone. I'm cool just swinging for 19. Like, if you were to Torrential my Sangan, that takes away a lot of damage, and my best search with Sangan is just Tsukiyomi, and then all I have is monsters with 300 attack. So taking the 1900 here is actually just more damage than you think. Main phase 2 now. I want to set Faith and Book of Moon. So now he goes for the Sook play on Morphing Jar. I think for a while about ringing my own Morphing Jar at that moment, but he can chain Book of Moon on my Morphing Jar, and then I have to Book of Moon his Sook to prevent him from attacking it. So I'd rather just wait for him to attack, and then I will ring Tsukuyomi. The reason I don't want to book Tsukuyomi is that I can't get over 1400 without using Nobleman or doing something with the Faith. He goes main phase 2, Nobleman on my Faith. Okay. I draw DD Warrior Lady. So I have no intentions of flipping my Morphing Jar. I'm cool. I'm going to win this game from this scenario 100% of the time if my Morphing Jar doesn't resolve. So what's my play then? He has 2300. So I decide I'm going to premature Sangen. If he torrentials there, I then go grab my Sook and then still have a DD Warrior Lady summon. And also, if he torrentials, I don't have to worry about my own Morphing Jar anymore. And I also thought about just attacking here, because again, 1200 is big. But with the backup Tsukuyomi, I'm cool with him just burning Torrential right here. He allows this. And I could summon Serpent next to this. But the reason I don't is that I'm never winning the game here anyway, right? He'll always have Scapegoat because he has 0 in Grave. So he always at least has a Scapegoat. So there's no point putting enough damage on board to win the game because I'm never going to. So I'd rather just swing for the 22 here. He does use Scapegoat. I destroy 2 of them. And by not summoning Serpent, I am now also free to set Faith. And I believe he has both knocks in Grave, right? 1, 2. Yep, both knocks in Grave. 2 metas in Grave, so only 1 meta left. So the only way he can answer Faith is with his final meta, and I still have Book of Moon for that anyway. And so yeah, now I'm going to use Nobleman on my own Morphing Jar because that's my opponent's only win condition at this point. Not only that, it gets rid of his Morphing Jar, so I don't have to worry about that either. So that's a big one. And then set Faith, pass. He goes for Tribe, passive priority, I allow that. Attacks, I allow that as well. The reason I don't book is because, well, first of all, I don't need to. I have plenty of ways to answer this Tribe, but also I have Snatch. So I could use the Tribe against him to destroy his goats. I draw into BLS. So this game's obviously just over, right? It's just about how I decide to finish it. And I do believe the best play is Snatch Tribe, discard Sinister, and just attack, force him to use whatever he's got. He has another Scapegoat. Okay, I'll attack 2 of them. And then main phase 2 will flip the Faith. I still have Book for Faith anyway. And I will grab Pot of Greed. try to find duo, basically. And I find duo Charity. As I said, do Worry Lady and end turn. Sets a back row, I take Serpent. So I think Heavy Storm is automatically game, right? So my play will be to Charity to find Heavy Storm. I don't find it, so I discard Sinister and Torrential because I will never need Torrential in this game. Next, what do I want to do next? I think I just want to flip Duty Warrior Lady to basically ask for Torrential without discarding for Tribe yet. He allows this. And I think my play is just use Tribe, discard Air Knight. I'd rather keep Sakuretsu just as an extra piece of protection. And I have enough damage with all this. So discard Air Knight. Plus I still have another Air Knight in deck, I believe. And just attack with everyone. Mirror Force is engraved, so I'm good here. See what his back rows are. He did decide to hold Torrential. He would have lost anyway. Alright, so that's my round 1 goat, Detox goat match. I'll see if I want to review my next ones as well. But yeah, let me know if you liked me using something that isn't Chaos Turbo. Just good old goat control. Alright, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.